Saving is a critical step in any photo editing workflow. So let's go over the file formats in which you'll most commonly save your photos. First of all, it's a good idea to have a master editing copy of every file that you work on in Photoshop and to save that in the native Photoshop format, which is the .psd format. That will retain adjustment layers like the one that we used here to change the color of this wheel. It will also retain other Photoshop features so that you can come back and re-edit those in the future. To save in the Photoshop format, in the Save As dialog, I'll choose Format or Save As Type, Photoshop, and I'll make sure to check Layers if I have multiple layers in the file, and I'll click Save. And OK. Now let's look at another photo. Let's say that we want to put this edited photo on the web or on a social media site. To do that, it needs to be in the JPEG format. But if I save as JPEG, the layers that you see here, the photo filter layer, which changes the color of the photo, and the background layer will be flattened into one single layer. So I want to make sure that I have my master PSD file, and then I'll save a copy as a JPEG. And notice that layers is not available because the JPEG format, as I said, does not retain layers. And I'll click OK. Now if I were to open that JPEG, you would see only one layer. Let's go ahead and do that. The same is true if I save a file in the PNG format. The PNG format will not retain layers, so in other words, this type layer would be baked into the same layer as the background, but what the PNG format will do is to save transparency. So that means I'll be able to place this against a different background, for example, on a website, and that background will show through where we see a checkerboard here. So let's go ahead and try that. Again, layers is not available. And I'll click OK. And now I'll open that PNG file. And as you can see, the type layer is no longer separate, but we still do have transparency in the PNG file. So that's a look at the most common file formats in which you'll save photos in your Photoshop photo editing workflow.